Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again and again and again. You're going to try to talk to people about the show Dexter, and they're going to confuse it with the cartoon. Why does this keep happening to me?
Jones Vibes.
What's up, YouTube friends? My name is Danny Jones, and welcome to Jones Vibes. First and foremost, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you enjoy it, please go ahead and hit that like button, and then click subscribe and hit that notification bell. That'll keep you up to date when I make more content. And I'm really excited about this, and so is my dark passenger. Dexter is back on television after a full decade, and he's back with a new installment. It's called Dexter: New Blood. And the show is on Showtime, per usual. It has Michael C. Hall. And when I saw they were doing this, I got pumped. Now, during Dexter's original run, it was like must-see TV. And personally, I was a massive fan. I remember about 10 years ago, I went to a Blockbuster in Los Angeles. I wasn't feeling well, so I got the first 4 seasons of Dexter. And I just remember that so fondly, like binge watching all 4 seasons, putting in the DVDs. And kids, this was back in the day when not everything was available to watch on your watch. But the first 4 seasons are undeniably great. The writing, the pacing, the acting, it all felt cohesive. And so if we're just taking those 4 seasons into account, it's probably in my top 10 TV shows of all time list. And you already know Avatar: Last Airbender's #1, baby. But my personal favorite season of all of them is season 4. It has the Trinity Killer, who's played by John Lithgow. And a little 10-year spoiler here, but he kills Rita, Dexter's wife, and leaves Harrison, his son, sitting in a pool of blood, just like Dexter is kind of born out of that blood. And at the time, this was one of the biggest twists in a show that I had ever seen. This was before like Game of Thrones and The Red Wedding and I guess Breaking Bad. Like I hadn't seen Breaking Bad yet. And I just remember watching that final scene just being like, what is gonna happen next? But then what happened next kinda sucked. Like there's a lot of things with the final 4 seasons that you can hop on board with. Like it's still watchable television and you're still watching Dexter. Like Michael C. Hall's performance is always solid. But something just didn't feel right. The whole tone of it changed. And showrunner and producer Clyde Phillips, he was a huge part of this. Like he was heavily involved in the first 4 seasons and then he stepped away in the last 4. And I feel like that's it. To me, that kind of pinpoints it. Like, he stepped away and everything kind of got a little rocky. But guess who's back for Dexter: New Blood? Clyde Phillips. But yeah, like the last 4 seasons are still canon, so like that is what happened with Dexter. And a lot of crazy stuff happens, like Deb ends up dying and LaGuardia dies. Dokes never came back, which sucked. But the biggest subject of controversy here is the finale. And I can see why, like it might not have been exactly what you were expecting, but I'm kind of one to just get on board. He ends up like faking his own death and he sends Hannah and Harrison on a plane. I think they're going to Argentina or something. But he says he's gonna be right behind them and he never shows up. He becomes a logger and kind of just goes off on his own. But now it's 2021, Dexter has been rebooted, and honestly I'm here because I watched the first 2 episodes and it was awesome. Like they've done such a good job with this show so far. So yeah, I'm gonna break down the first 2 episodes and then I'll definitely get around to breaking down the rest of the season in some shape or fashion. But before I really get into this, just know I'm about to spoil the first 2 episodes. So if you haven't seen Dexter: New Blood, stop right now. And if you have, like me,
Let me show you.
So we pick up with Dexter, and Dokes isn't back again, which sucks. I kind of knew he wouldn't come back, so it's no big surprise.
Surprise,
But he is living a pretty peaceful life. It looks kind of cool. No pun intended, because it's cold where he lives. And it kind of seems like the type of place where nothing ever really happens. He's working at a hunting and fishing store, and growing up in Montana, this store just looked really familiar. I feel like I've been in like 100 of this exact place. But he's still bringing like baked goodies to his boss, just like he did in the original show. He always used to bring donuts. And somehow, some way, they've put you right back into Dexter's life, and it feels right. Besides a couple things, there's no inner monologue going on. And that was Dexter's like thing, his dark passenger. It's always just kind of there, kind of narrating the story, moving things along. As well as that original theme, Sorry. But yeah, he's also dating the sheriff of this town. Her character's name is Angela Bishop. In real life, her name is Julia Jones. And I actually most recognized her from Wind River. And she had kind of a small part in that, but man, she was amazing. And then instead of seeing the ghost of his dad, Harry, talking to him all the time, that's been replaced with his sister, Deb. And putting Deb and Dexter back together in a scene just felt good. But yeah, she's proud of him because he hasn't murdered anybody in like 10 years. And that's a pretty big accomplishment for Dex. But long story short, there's like this rich prodigal son that returns to the town. He's originally from Iron Lake. I think he like moved to Florida or something. But he comes back with all the bros, and they come into the store that Dexter works at, and he wants to buy this insane gun. But when he goes to purchase it, Dexter notices that he has like a flag on his record. So that mixed with the fact that that guy's just kind of an ass just kind of triggers Dexter a little bit. And so Dex like looks a little bit more into the situation and finds out that this guy was actually responsible for like 5 people's death in this boating accident. So waves of nostalgia kept hitting me because it's like, oh, Dexter's on the case, like something's about to happen. And then you mix this with this kid who comes to see Dexter, and it turns out it's Harrison, his son. And he's claiming that Hannah died in Argentina. But I really like the direction that they took this story, because Harrison, like I said before, he was kind of born in blood like Dexter. So you know there's something off with him, and I just feel like I have a lot of questions about his character. I don't even trust that Hannah died from cancer and stuff. I feel like he has some secrets, and at first Dexter doesn't let him in. Like Dexter says, like, I'm not your dad. And he eventually just kind of rolls back on that and is like, actually, I am your dad. But we catch up with Dexter in the morning, and he goes out and he's admiring this like white buck that he always sees. He like looks in his scope to see it, and he never shoots it. He just kind of like appreciates the beauty. And while he's looking at this thing, of course, this Matt Caldwell guy's out in the woods, and he shoots this buck right in front of Dexter. And dude, you just pissed off like the one wrong guy to piss off in this town. And that's it. Like that's when Dexter snaps, and he like nails the dude in the head. And then all of a sudden he's on the table with the saran wrap. And this is one of the coolest moments in television that I've seen in recent memory. It's kind of like the end of season 4 for me. Because I mentioned earlier, his dark passenger, the voice is not there. And when he stabs the knife down through Matt Caldwell, the voice rings out in his head and says something like, I'm Dexter and I'm back and it's awesome. And I was like, Dexter's back, and that's pretty awesome. So now we got the inner monologue back, and it does end with the proper theme that we got in the original series. So I was feeling pretty good about that first episode. Like it really got me. And jumping to the second episode, I just want to say that it has one of the best titles that I've seen in a TV show in quite a while. And it picks up right after the first. So like he's asked Harrison to come live with him now. Matt's body is like buried under the fire pit, but he's reported missing, and so the sheriff decides that it's a good idea to set up shop at Dexter's house. And yeah, you kind of dive in a little more to Harrison, but there's still a lot of questions. He kind of buddies up with the sheriff's daughter, and I will say that Harrison shows a lot more like initiative than Dex did when he was young. Dex was kind of like traumatized and awkward when he was a teenager, but this kid just kind of seems chill. Like you can tell he's been like riding buses around, he's been on his own forever. He knows how to handle himself, which is exactly what a serial killer would want you to think. But there's a lot of dialogue in this episode. Deb gets super mad at Dexter for killing again. She wants him to stop. He's kind of trying to like ignore the voice, and they can't find Matt Caldwell, so they end up stopping the search. But right at the end of the episode, we get this dude who I think is just going to be the main villain. Like I have a feeling. And I know this because he's played like one of my favorite villains of all time in Highlander. I think his name was Kurgan or something.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
It seems as if your blade has improved my cut, Kurgan. But yeah, he shows up. Apparently he's Matt Caldwell's dad. He's Kurt Caldwell, and he's like, no, we're not going to stop the search. We're going to keep looking for my son. And you just get some shady vibes, dude. Shady vibes. Oh, and I forgot to mention that there's like another serial killer that they keep showing. Like this girl was trapped in a hotel room, and this dude's looking through a camera. And so that could be Clancy Brown's character, Kurt Caldwell, or it could be somebody else. I don't know. It could be Harrison. I have no idea. But yeah, I will say like the second episode, there wasn't anything too notable, but it's definitely setting you up for an awesome season. And I'll say that about both episodes. Like I was pleasantly surprised. Not that I didn't think they could pull it off. I just didn't think it would be as good as it is. And it's really nice just to have some new blood on our hands. And yeah, that about wraps it up. And like I said, like I'll definitely be covering the rest of this season. I don't know if I'll do like episode by episode, but you'll definitely see another Dexter New Blood video out. But more importantly, I want to hear what you thought about it. Like, please leave me a comment and let me know what you thought, because maybe I'm just riding the high horse right now and I'm just like super amped on this show, but I thought it was really good, right? I don't know, but please, yeah, leave me a comment. If you haven't already, like this video, and if you like the channel, please hit that subscribe button for me. That would mean the world. But anyway, Dexter is back. What a time to be alive. I hope everybody out there is safe and healthy and happy. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.
Jones vibes.